Good afternoon and welcome to round 9 of the World Monoposto Sim Racing Championship 2023, which brings us from another former Formula One stomping ground, Hockenheim in Germany. And my goodness, can I just say, and I'll get it out the way, this track should still be on the calendar. What a fabulous venue it is. We've been seeing some of the action in the practice server. I think we're in for a fantastic afternoon of racing. I won't get on my soapbox and talk about street circuits just yet, but it's great to be racing once again at Hockenheim. And I'm joined by another self-confessed Hockenheim fan. He himself as an unbiased Hockenheim fan, but a fan nonetheless. Back from his holidays, Robin Ciuman, good afternoon. How are you?
Yeah, hi. Thanks for having me. And of course, I'm very excited for this race, having spent the majority of my life in and around Hockenheim. So, yeah, very excited to see some high-level open wheel racing back on this track. But I too believe should still be on the calendar. And yeah, great to see some action here today.
Absolutely, it is. Okay, we've got our allegiances out in the open. It's out there now. Hopefully, Stefano Domenicali will hear it on the wind somehow before he adds another street track in Madrid or something stupid. But before that, we will have a little reminder at where we are racing this afternoon. Here's a little track guide to Hockenheim.
Originally built in 1932 as a high-speed test track for Mercedes-Benz, the Hockenheim Ring has evolved into a renowned racing circuit that's gone through multiple layout changes. Buckle up and join me for a flying lap with Paolo Wallami from Scuderia Cesario. Across the start-finish line we go and we head towards turn 1, the Nord curve. It's a very fast right-hander, shift down just once, clip the apex, watch the curbs on the left, and you threw it in a flash. Now in the olden days, this is where we'd speed off into the forest, but not anymore. Hard on the brakes for the right-hander that is turn 2, through turns 3 and 4, and before you know it, it's the end of sector 1, and we're on to the curve straight, known as Parabolica. This will be a big opportunity to set up some overtaking moves in the race because at the end of it, a heavy braking zone in the form of turn 6, the hairpin. Hard on the brakes, down through the gears, clip the apex, get the car round and straightened up, and on the power as soon as you can. No sooner have we left one overtaking opportunity, we fly towards another. Turn 7 is flat, but on the brakes for the left-hander. Turn 8, Mercedes, in front of the Mercedes-Benz Stadium. Turns 9 and 10 will be over in a flash, and before you know it, we're in the third and final sector, which was part of the old Hockenheim circuit, starting with the flying right-hander Mobile 1, which fires us into the stadium section. Next up, the famous Sachs curve, down through the gears and hug the curb on the left-hand side. Back up through the power, 13 and 14 are flat, before the final double right-hander, the Sud curve. Don't get out to the drag strip on the left. I heard it's quite slippy. Power down, across the line, and stay tuned for Hockenheim.
And before anyone comes at me for that rhyme at the end of the track day video, that was completely accidental and I stuck with it. So let's say no more about it. Now let's go straight into the weather. WMSC always issues a forecast for each race. It's based on the statistical data of the location in the respective month and was prepared by neutral persons. And it's hot, basically. I mean, I think you might be aware that there is a quite a warm climate event going across Europe at the minute. Wherever you're watching, I hope you're well, but especially if you're in those hot countries, I do hope you are very safe. And Robin, I think you can confirm this is an incredibly realistic forecast for today.
Yeah, looking out of the window, it's very, very accurate indeed. Like 1 or 2 degrees off, it's very accurate.
Yes, and it is going to create some interesting permutations for the race because, of course, with the hot weather, issues with tyre wear might crop up again, especially for certain teams. Anyway, let's have a look at the standings before we head out to the track. And Yannis Volborn increased his championship lead last time out. He was the first 3-time winner in the WMSC, winning at Spa. Philip Pushka now second in the championship. Max Riedmuller had another tough afternoon, dropping to third. Pascal Poland's in fourth. Ruven Meshida continuing his charge up in fifth. Lucas Murno with a personal best result of the season, getting a podium in sixth. He might not be letting Meshida go that easily. He might look to go with him. Hess in seventh. Vella, Benton Rido, and Turi rounding out the top 10. As for the constructor standings, Holland Team Racing, very comfortable, over double the amount of Epic Brasilia. But so there's an interesting fight now, though, breaking up in lower parts of the table. So Maniti versus Brasilia is starting to come alive. SCMM, Optimal, Infernal Void, Beta Julia, all in a fight for fourth. And then at the bottom, so Cesario are hoping to maybe recover a little bit, where then Can Costech and the new boys Potenza maybe get off the mark today. So we now join. Qualifying has started. We are 2 minutes in. No issues with weather this afternoon. It is going to be a sunny day indeed. Let's see how we go. And we've been looking at the practice times, Robin, before, and it's looking really tight up in terms of who could come out on pole today.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. I think we will have 4 or 5 people from different teams competing for the front row of the grid, which will be absolutely exciting. But this, of course, has been practice, and we'll now see the true pace of all the drivers and teams that are now out on track. Daniel Benton-Reader will be the first one to settle that time here.
Very tidy through the final corner of the Sud curve. And the benchmark is... Oh, we've not been set there, so he must have breached track limits at one point. So Walborn ends up being the person to set the time with 1 minute 17.2. Fisher, though, immediately going inside that by a second. Fine time from Dylan Fisher. Now, you may notice a slight difference this weekend. Holland Racing Team are not in orange. They've got a special livery, as both of their drivers are German. They are in a very special white livery with the colours of the German flag running across the back. We did joke about this before the race, Robin, about, the dangers of running a special livery at Hockenheim, a white one no less. I mean, I'm worried for them. I don't know about you.
Yeah, me too. But at least for once, it's not raining here today. So the slippery ice rink that is the drag strip in the final 2 corners might not be that much of an issue today. Rather more a track limit issue, though, as we've probably seen with Benton Reader's first lap time that got deleted.
Here comes Walborn for another one. Already the time's tumbling. Pushka, 15.5 now. And Walborn looked to improve. And Benton Reader does well. He gets inside of it. But Walborn, behind Benton Reader, really struggling. But, updates and the design of the cars is just as important, just as it is in Formula One. HRT have brought, once again, a little top speed update. Their focus has very much been top speed. We saw how much it benefited them in Spa. It's not helping them so much this afternoon in Hockenheim.
Yeah, of course, we have the long parabolica here towards the hairpin. But apart from that, there's not too much of a top speed bit, especially the last sector. This is what we've seen in practice, is where they are really struggling, which is very much a technical bit of the track. And today it might even be the same issue they had at Jerez, that not only their main rivals, or especially Wilborn's main rivals, might be ahead of them, but also, guys like Dylan Fisher right now, or Daniel Benton Reader as well. So this is, of course, the big opportunity for Philip Pushka to get some points, to reel some points in, and get back to Yannis Walborn in the Drivers' Championship.
Absolutely is. And Pushka, he's a 2-time winner himself this season. I think he'd be a lot closer if it wasn't for the fact that after winning the opening race of the season, he had a bit of a struggle in the next 2 rounds, only finishing 6th and then finishing outside the points. Otherwise, he's not finished lower than 4th. So that's the only real thing that's cost him, whereas Walborn has just been relentlessly consistent in the points every race, lowest finish at 5th. That's the big thing. So for Pushka, that's an interesting choice from Aaron Curtis. I'm not sure if he was trying to get out of the way of someone or whether that was a technical issue.
I'm sure we'll see a replay of that. Actually, to admit, I didn't even catch that as I was looking on the season results as you were just talking about it. As I wanted to say that, Philip Pushka's especially unlucky in that Bahrain race, which was the only time he finished outside the points because he had some technical issues with his rig, he told us after the race. So, he might even be a bit closer had that not happened.
It was a very odd moment from Curtis there. Just coming down the main straight, and it looked like they just seemed to turn left, unless it was catching a slide.
Yeah, that looks very much like a technical issue on his side as well, like on their side. Also the wheel doing some funny business, but that looked very odd indeed.
Hopefully that doesn't affect them again later in the afternoon. Hopefully that's all the gremlins out of the system. In the meantime, Gustavo Fragotto, purple first sector, green middle sector, down by 0.3. Let's see what he can do in the tight final sector. Into Sachs curve, just hold it tight. He's got a little bit of traffic up ahead, overcorrecting into the final double right-hander through Sud curve. Looks solid. A good time, enough to be 0.3 away, up third. Unless Holland Racing Team are holding back, would be a really interesting afternoon. It seems like not just Meshida and Pushka, who you were expecting to kind of come in and make it a four-way all-German fight for a win. There's plenty of other drivers in the mix. Seeing Fischer and Fragotto so high is incredible. Murno has been improving week on week. But wow, this is really interesting. Walami as well, up in 8th. For Scuderia Cesario, only his second race. And a bit of a, quiet afternoon last time out, but got to the end, which is the most important thing, without incident. And now qualifying up in 6th. This could be really interesting indeed as we join Dylan Fisher, who's gone purple in the first 2 sectors. Optimal Esports slowly coming to the fore. And at the minute, it's a slower final sector, but it's enough to go top. And Optimal Esports are currently, provisionally, 1st and 2nd. And, we saw the standings at the top of the programme about how Holland Racing Team have just been, running away with it because they're so consistent. But finally, can Optimal start getting some consistency? That's an incredible provisional result. Still plenty of time for it to change, though.
Yeah, but definitely, what a turnaround of the season this has been so far for Optimal. They've been struggling to score points at the first 3 races of the seasons. Then Ruben Meshida came in for Canada, instantly finished in the points, and now provisionally they are locking out the front row here in Hockenheim. Absolutely insane to see where they've been coming from.
Now, this is going to be an interesting thing to see. So, obviously, purple first sector for Yannis Waldborn, green in the second. Let's see how much time he loses through this final sector with this Holland Racing Team car designed for top speed. Is he going to have lost out here enough to not take the top spot? He has. It's enough to get him up to 3rd, though. That's a timely improvement. And it's incredibly a purple final sector as well. So, it's actually the middle sector that's been more of the issue. The middle sector includes the Parabolica, which I'm slightly confused about. Must be the hairpin.
Yeah, that is curious, to say the least. I mean, they must be losing loads of times then in the hairpin, and then the I think the Mercedes
that's part of
is
it,
in
yes.
there as well. Yeah.
Very interesting. I was expecting a bigger drop off as Meshida, purple final sector. And it's an Optimal scrap for pole at the minute. Only 900ths of a second in it. Fantastic, but can Philip Pushka join the party? 0.2 off. 400ths up in the middle. Round the Sachs curve he goes. Into the final double right-hander. Again, nice and tidy. Across the line he goes. And it's up to 4th. Very, very tight at the minute. Half a second separating the top 5. But fuel is burning off. Track temperature is going to be going up. There's still going to be improvements. Here comes Pascal Polens. Doesn't look like he's going to trouble for pole, but looking like an improvement at the minute. It's only up to 7th, as you can see. Down 4/10 in that final sector. Meshida, though. See how well he can hook up this final sector again. He's already improved once. Keep a little bit of space between him and his teammate. On the final corner, carrying a little bit of speed, but foot in it. And it is an improvement. The gap now up to almost 0.3 of a second. Lucas Murno following just behind. That's enough to get him into the top 5. Fragoto, can he respond immediately? No, can't quite. Breathless so far this qualifying session. Oh, Denny Vella just off. Just to keep it going. Yeah, so far plenty of action. It's much shorter track than Spa, so the times are going to be coming in thick and fast.
Yeah, I wouldn't count out Daniel Benton-Reader just yet, because at the beginning of the session he was setting some equally quick lap times to at least Woolborn and Pushka, and he has turned out to be a bit of a qualifying specialist so far in this season. Often tumbled down the order than in the race.
And what's really interesting is, and this is corroborated by the timesheets, he's running on mediums at the minute rather than the preferred super soft. So he's going for it on a technically slower tyre as he overpowers it into Mobile 1. Kept his foot in, see if he can still get an improvement. But I do wonder why he's running the mediums. There's not a link between the qualifying tyre or the tyre you've got to start the race on. The only link you have is they are running on the fuel they've got is also race fuel. But tyres, there's no restriction, so I do wonder why. Pushka is also, last time he set out was on a medium, which is interesting, rather than the super soft. Malami slightly up on times. Can he do? One place ahead of Poland's.
But that last sector seems to be harming Cesario a bit. And despite a purple middle sector, Woolborn into the pits. Might have made a mistake in the stadium section, though. We haven't seen that, of course.
So go ahead.
Yeah, maybe on the topic of tyres, as you've just been talking about, to give you an idea of who has chosen which set of tyres. There is a softer tyre set you can choose ahead of the race, which is consisting of a super soft and a medium tyre. And then there's the harder set, which consists of a soft and a hard tyre. And everyone except Gonzalez Cativo, Brody Lawless, and Philip Fekela have gone for the softer set of tyres.
Interesting. So, obviously, with the temperatures the way they are, I think you wonder maybe would they go for a more durable set, but it seems to be enough. Been suggested in chat maybe going for the mediums over the super soft because of the hot temperatures, try and keep the grip over the course of the lap as Pusher comes round again on mediums.
Oh, that's a good one.
Fine time indeed. Only 1/10 splits the optimal esports cars. In the meantime, Fragoto up by 0.006 of a second at the end of the first sector. He's running the super softs, those red wall tyres. Power down out of the hairpin. We head towards the Mercedes curve, towards the stand bearing their name. Woolborn, Poland's now 4th and 5th. Not far away, don't write them off yet. Come to the end of Sector 2, Fragoto. Green, not purple, but he's very much in the mix. Only 0.04 of a second. See how tiny he can keep it through the Sachs curve. Keeps it tight. Flat through the next two before the final double right-hander. Lining it up for Sud curve. Power down. Very nice and tidy across the line. Lucas Murno has just gone up to fourth. He's knocked to fifth. Frigoto into second. And again, fuel's burning off. Track's getting rubbered in. Oh, and Pushka just getting caught on the curb there. He was up by 0.2 of a second. That could have been a pole lap.
Yeah, indeed, it could have been. But now, Pascal Paulens, and we've seen the last sector doesn't seem as much to be of an issue that we thought it would be out of this race, or out of qualifying. So he might be in for a very good lap here.
Goes powers towards the line. Well, there we go. That seems a little bit more indicative of what we were thinking. He's not been able to move up there after being purple in the middle sector.
Yeah, Yannis must have had his lap time deleted, as it went to outlap in that last corner, so I think he ran a little wide, crossed the white line.
Had a very messy start to this lap as well, down by 0.3. It's not quite coming together for the Holland team cars today.
Yeah, time is slowly running out now. Only 3 minutes to go in this session.
Now, Spa has an 82% full throttle. Basically, 82% of the lap is full throttle, and Holland Racing Team have consistently put in top speed after top speed update. It's also the philosophy of their initial design as well, and it worked for them in Spa. It's only about 53% around Hockenheim, and they're struggling. I mean, as we can see, he's purple in the middle sector with the parabolica in it. So that is now starting to make sense with kind of what we know of the design of the car and the layout of the track. So we'll see if Yannis can improve now. He bails out. I think that first sector probably put him off. Here is Philip Fekler.
Kostek, of course, still waiting to score their first points of the season.
And
They
also, go ahead.
Yeah, they and Potenza Esport, the only teams that have not scored points this season. Though Potenza Esport, the team that was previously called Streamline, Streamline had scored points before, but of course their tally got reset once the team was bought. Oh, what's happened there? Okay, apparently he's still going. Thought he went into the Shadow Realms there somewhere, but...
So Philip Beckler, late arrival across the line and into 12th. Fisher. Purple first sector. What can Dylan Fisher do? Great to see, Fisher up there. Only taken part in, I believe, 2 races so far. Best finish of 7th at Watkins Glen. And, great to see him up at the top, hopefully to be able to support Meshida, who is still after his first win. He looked nailed on for a win at Monaco, apart from late drama, but Fisher might come in and give him a fight just yet. What an incredible lap. He's 1/10 clear of teammate Ruben Meshida. Meshida on a flying lap himself. Can he respond? About 40 seconds left in qualifying. Out to the end of Sector 2. Charging towards the stadium section. It's purple by 0.3 of a second into Mobile 1. This flying right-hander, incredible right-hander it is. Almost reminiscent of the old bridge corner at Silverstone as well. Through Sachs curve. Benton Reader, in the meantime, has gone up to 3rd, 1/10 away. What can Meshida do? It's looked like a very tidy lap. Could this be provisional pole position with 8 seconds to go? It is. It's a slower final sector, but that first sector was so good. It's good enough. Frigoto, in the meantime, doesn't move. The checkered flag is out. These are the laps now. These are the important laps. What can Philip
looks very
do?
good.
Just incredible lap, though. 0.05 of a second. Dylan Fisher now coming round again. Can Fisher put himself back onto provisional pole? He can! Incredible by 1/10 of a second for Dylan Fisher. Still more times coming in. Pascal Polens in the meantime. What can he do? Will he be starting outside a points-paying position? It looks like he will. He's in 9th.
Where's Wilborn? Is he still running?
I'm not sure. Here he is. Don't have any sector information. It doesn't look like he's going the quickest.
No, he's not. He's already over 115.
Yeah, and he's pulling in. Is Meshida done as well? Here comes Lucas Murno. Can he get one final improvement? Looking to find at least 3/10 on his best if he can get past Frigoto. And Meshida's just nicked in at the death, 600ths of a second. Murno across the line. No improvement. Reuven Meshida has just nicked at the death from his teammate, and it looks like it's going to be an Optimal Esports front row lockout. Absolutely incredible. This team, first race of the season, had a completely different lineup. They qualified 11th and 13th. They didn't score points until Reuven Meshida joined in Canada. Now, Reuven Meshida has his second pole position of the season, and Dylan Fisher joins him on the front row. It's an incredible result. Philip Pushka's 2/10 down in third. Daniel Benson-Reader, as you said, Robin, a qualifying specialist, a great result for him in fourth. Rigoto fifth. Lucas Murno is in sixth. Yanis Volborn can only manage seventh. They could have a tough afternoon ahead of them. Not saying it's the livery. Anyway, we'll move on. Paolo Willami is in eighth. A fine result for him on his second race of the season for Scuderia Cesario. Poland's ninth. Gonzalez Cativo is the only Maniti racing car this afternoon. Yes, we have no Max Riedmuller. More on that later. Denny Vella is 11th. Philip Feckler and Mateus Machado for the Costex. Machado in on a substitute today. Bartosz Karpeta is 14th. Yasser Latinen 15th. Aaron Curtis 16th. And Lawless and Fournier rounding out the grid. Well, that was a great qualifying session, and if that has anything to go by, we could be in for a very interesting race this afternoon. I genuinely, there are so many people in the mix for the win this afternoon. Oh, just had a little update in the background from Race Direction, but we will be back for the race very shortly. In the meantime, here's some highlights from what happened last time out in Spa, and we'll join you in Lights Out in about 10 minutes' time.
Don't go anywhere. It's going to be very interesting.
And welcome back. The race session is just beginning. We will have a formation lap in a second, but we have just had a very, very interesting qualifying session here at Hockenheim. The championship leaders in the constructors and the championship leader in the driver as well, Yanis Volborn, struggling. They don't seem to have the pace this afternoon, and it's blisteringly hot, which means their tyre issues could reappear. So, let's see how they have lined up for this race. And honestly, it's really going to be hard to call who could win this afternoon. On pole position, we have Reuven Meshida from Dylan Fisher. It's an Optimal Esports front row lockout for the first time. Brilliant work for them. Philip Pushka is third. Daniel Benson-Reader, a fine qualifying performance in fourth. Gustavo Frigoto continuing to impress since moving to SCMM in fifth. Lucas Murno, another solid sixth from him. Yanis Volborn will be disappointed in seventh, while Paolo Willami in only his second race in eighth. Row 5 is Pascal Polans alongside Gonzalez Cativo. Denny Vella alongside Philip Feckler in the Costec. Costec still looking for their first points of the season. Maybe it'll come in the form of substitute Mateus Machado, a solid 13th on his debut. Bartosz Karpeta said he was disappointed with his 14th. He said he had more pace. Yasser Latinen 15th alongside Aaron Curtis. Whereas the back row is Brody Lawless and Jeffrey Fournier. So, slightly mixed up. We are, as some of you may have noticed, missing one of the championship contenders, Max Riedmuller. And I believe if he's watching, he might be looking on slightly irritated at what a great chance this could have been to claw some points back to Volborn, because Holland Racing Team don't seem to have it this afternoon. And as we head towards the line, Reuven Meshida leading them through the final sector. Stadium complex. Give you full information about tyre choices of the teams once we get up and running. Remember, there are 2 sets of tyres. Most of them have gone for softer sets, the more aggressive set this afternoon, despite those temperatures. But honestly, make your pick now, because it's going to be really hard to call this as the grid lines up in Hockenheim. 18 cars, all waiting to line up, the lights to go out. And we have a car running in the pits. Is someone starting from the pits? More of that.
Looks to me like one of the Potenza Esport cars, possibly a Kostek, maybe even.
Keep an eye on that in a second. Looking at the timing screen, there's a little bit of a glitch around Brody Lawless. Is it Lawless? And we're having a bit of a hang again.
Indeed, it is Lawless.
Oh, and Lawless now in the pits. I wonder what's happened there. Is there an issue for Brody Lawless? They're not going to be happy at how long they're being held on the line. Temperatures are going to be going up. There's already a smoking car there. Lots of smoking cars. This was tested before the race. But the lights are going now. Revs go up. Lights come on. And out they go in Hockenheim. It's a solid start from Meshter. He's going to lead comfortably into turn 1, but there's this lot of smoke. Hopefully everyone can get through cleanly. Everyone's going to have to watch their engine temps on the first few laps. But the Ciuman Esports cars lead down to where the old truck used to trail off into the woods.
There is some debris in the background. In turn 1, it's the rear wing of Corpetta, I guess.
Yes, Bartosz Karpet always seems to be losing rear wings here, there, and everywhere. Can he keep it going and at least try and carry on? Lots of smoke. Hopefully people can kind of manage that and bring the temperatures down. It's a very hot day, but Meshter leads from Pushka, Fragoto. Volbon's had an excellent start. He's up to 5th. Murno's held 6th. Valami 7th. Poland's 8th. Daniel Benton-Reader has dropped all the way back to 10th. A really poor start once again. Gonzalez Cativo, the only Maniti racing car, holding an 11th just behind Benton-Reader. But everyone's through okay, with the exception, fortunately, of Bartosz Karpeta. We'll see that in a moment. The question is, what can this man do now from 5th? He's had a good start. I think he'd be happy with the points from 5th, but can he make any roads forward?
Oh, mistake!
Wow!
Through.
A very rare mistake from Yannis Walborn into the sud curve. Lucas Murno up to 5th, but now we'll see how much the straight line speed will bail Walborn out of trouble here. Quite close, and obviously the Parabolica is the moment, but he's got a little bit struggle on the exit there.
Yeah, and he has now Lucas Murno ahead of him, and we know that Infernal Void car is very quick on a straight line as well. So he has always been strong on those races where Walborn and Holland have been strong as well. So even for the Holland Racing Team car, Lucas Murno might not be the easiest one to beat.
And this is a key part of the track now as well, as we see what happened out to Bartosz Karpeta. It's a solid start, in fact. So he's okay. He's got one of the Potenza Esport cars, will be Lattinen alongside him. Oh, and he just catches a Kostek and then tries to brake, and unfortunately it's a concertina effect, and Jeffrey Fournier ends up catching him. A bit unfortunate there. I don't think he's done too much wrong. It's just the unfortunate turn 1 scuffle. A real shame.
Yeah, indeed. And Yannis Walborn right now looks like he's lost time to Lucas Murno. And running wide through turn 1 once again. And this is starting as there's a battle between Figroto and Pushka. Pushka still manages to keep it in 3rd.
You know, the chance now for Frigoto to maybe look. He's going to the extremely right side of the track. Pushka not going to make this easy. Can Frigoto go around the outside of the hairpin? He's going to have to go the long way around indeed. Pushka trying to hold it off. Penalty for Bartosz Karpeta in the meantime. In the background, and Murno spins up the rears coming on the exit of the hairpin. This is a chance for Walborn to get back. Frigoto looking to attack. We've got double attacking moves going on at the same time. And then, not sure who this because of the white car. I think Walborn is past Murno. How irresponsible of them to have a white car when they're battling another white car. But Walborn is through by the looks of it. My goodness.
Yeah, I'd love to see a replay of that because there was even a little bit of contact between Murno and Wilborn, if I've seen that correctly.
I mean, on it, my goodness, Murno just making the mistake that allowed Volborn back in, and Meshida another fastest lap, but he's not losing Fisher. Fisher still is only a second away, but the Optimal Esports cars as a team are very much leaving the field behind at the minute. In the meantime, Willami is getting close to Murno and Volborn as well with them fighting. So it's now, what can Pushka do? Apologies, we do have some sound issues. We are looking to fix those as soon as we can. Thank you for staying with us. In the meantime, watching third place Philip Pushka trying to hold off Gustavo Fragoto. And Fragoto looking very racy.
Yeah, Pushka seems like he's struggling in these early stages of the race. He's lost 3 seconds to the leader already.
So this is the instant now. So we were watching Fragoto and Pushka battle, but Murno just spinning up the rears on the exit of the hairpin. So immediately, Volborn behind in the slipstream, looking to make the move. Wow, Murno goes extremely defensive, and it's around the outside. Yes, there's contact. I don't know, a racing incident, a bit unnecessary, the contact, but I feel like no one really did anything too heinous there. Volborn absolutely pounced at the right moment, and Murno just needs to try and get back under control, and hopefully all be good. Meantime, the gap between Pushka and Fisher is up to 3 seconds. He is very much more concerned about Gustavo Fragoto behind him. No chance to make a move there. Well, lots of cars getting a little bit slidey on the exit of the hairpin, just trying to, get the car straightened up and get the power down. Minute, it is the Optimal Esports team having a fine afternoon. But there's still a long way to go. It is only lap 5 of 66. But what a result this could be if they can pull this off.
Yeah, what'll also be interesting to see is if there will be some team orders at play later on in this race between Optimal. Right now it doesn't look like Dylan Fisher is trying to attack Ruben Meshida, but if he's right there at the end of this race, you might think about it.
No, absolutely. And you kind of want to see them racing. I mean, Meshida missed the first 4 rounds. Oh, and a penalty for Gustavo Fragoto. We've not heard anything from race control, which likely means that is going to be handed out by the game track limits. So he might have been pushing a little bit too hard trying to get past Pushka, and he's now got a penalty. So that's usually 5 seconds, I think, when it's handed out, or it's a drive-through. I'm not sure. We'll have to double-check that.
I mean, most of the time, if I remember that correctly from the last race, it even has been a drive-through. So that will be Fragoto losing lots of time.
And Jeffrey Fournier clearly getting a little bit messy in the background there as well. With a Costech of Philip Feckler. That's a real shame for Fragoto, and it's going to allow Volborn another chance to gain a place.
But Murno's still all over him.
Took the gap right down, and Fragoto goes straight in to serve that. A real shame, but hopefully he can still recover this afternoon. A warning to everyone, watch out for those track limits. We go straight through the pits and out. Is he going to rejoin behind both Costechs? No, just the one. He splits them. Hopefully he can recover. Real shame. He's, only been racing. This is his 3rd race for SCMM, 4th overall. He had 1 substitute appearance for Infernal Void, but he's so far managed 2 7th places for SCMM. Qualified 4th in the last round. Looked like he was going to be on for a 4th, but still time to go. But that gives Holland Racing Team a bit of a break. They are in the mix. Pascal Poland 7th. Denny Vella is now up to 8th. Both Better Julie is now on the cusp of points, running together. And now might be a good time, while there's not much going on track, is to talk about potential strategies. And everyone in the top 10, with the exception of Gonzalez Cativo, is on the soft tyre. So everyone is running the medium. Oh, and that is Denny Vella, I think, in the background running wide. Fortunately, it is his teammate behind him, so he's not going to give him too hard of a time, you'd imagine. So they managed to keep running without anything lost. But yeah, so everyone is running the medium tyre at the minute. Because of the temperatures, I think it would be very surprising to see too many people on the super soft. The only person running it at the minute is Yasser Lattanen down in 16th. It's going to be interesting to see how people can manage the wear of the tyres. Because there's no real differences in compound. They're all running the same one. We'll have to see, obviously, when the Holland Racing Team guys go in comparison. But managing the tyres is going to be a really important part of the afternoon.
Yeah, and this is also where Philip Puschke comes into play, because he was very strong so far on the tire management side, and now he has the pressure behind him has lifted off with Frigoto being handed the penalty. So now he can take his time, manage the tires, and hope for the two Optiminal boys overdoing it at the front.
Looking at the back as well, Ruben Meshida gives us a 1:14.8. That's going to get quicker and quicker as the fuel burns off. But at the back, we've already lost Brody Lawless. Not sure why he ended up having to pull into the pits and then essentially retire before the race started. And then Bartosz Karpeta has also been in to the pits as well. I'm not sure if he's required another repair, but he's been back in the pits once again, and he's back out on the medium tyres, running 17th. Philip Feckler trying to hunt down Jeff Fournier. Kostek not bad in a straight line either, and pulls right into the Basilia car on the inside of the hairpin. Fournier looking for a switchback and does so absolutely brilliantly, in fact. I thought there was enough momentum from the Kostek. But Feckler going to look again. Fournier makes sure he leaves space on the inside. Switchback again into Mercedes!
Oh, there's contact!
Oh, and Frigoto had to slam on there. Oh, that's a shame. It was a lovely flowing move and just not enough space left on the inside there. You also wonder if Feckler maybe carried a little bit too much speed in there. It's Frigoto fighting, trying to recover his race after the early track limits penalty, which that's what it was, confirmed. He'll be hoping he can clear Jeffrey Fournier as quickly as possible. Given a little bit of a helping hand from that contact.
Yeah, hopefully, of course, his car hasn't taken too much damage from that contact. That was, unfortunately, unavoidable for him. And immediately, Philip Feckler has been handed a 5-second time penalty that will be handed after the race. But we haven't seen the reason, as Gustavo Frigoto moves past Jeffrey Fournier without issue. But let's see if Fournier once again, yes, he does go for the switchback, and we might see a repeat of what we've seen just a lap ago. But Frigoto on the outside.
Stays to the outside as well. Oh, seems to get a much better run out of that corner, and this is going to run and run. Surely not going to look into mobile one. Oh, we have a...
What was that?
Was that Curtis? Rear wing. Well, I wonder what's happened to them there. And why on earth? That must be contact. We'll try and see if we can find out what happened there. But Aaron Curtis... been stealing from the Fournier-Frigoto fight. There is the moment. Oh, this is very... Oh, I see. This has happened at the worst possible place. Happens on the exit of Sud Curve. And as we're watching that replay, Lucas Murno is fighting with Yanis Volborn as we speak. They've just changed places a couple of times, and they are side by side coming towards Mercedes.
In a good position.
Oh!
Sliding by. Oh, contact. Murno in fourth, but Yanis Volborn won't be too happy with that move.
I don't think that was malicious. It's definitely a loss of control that's knocked him wide. And obviously, we've just seen Feckler get a 5-second penalty for a slightly reckless manoeuvre. We wonder if there'll be a call to ask Murno to give that back. But finally, he's worked his way back past Walborn. And he's on. And there is the call. He has been asked to give the position back. And he's going to have to do it all again. Ooh, we've got a spicy afternoon so far.
Yeah, and it's that classic, awesome combination of the hairpin and then going on towards the Mercedes-Benz grandstand that gives you the awesome opportunity for a counterattack, or, well, the battle usually just goes on after you go on the throttle. After the Spitzkehrer, and no, once again, contact, he spins. Did he spin him around? No, not entirely.
You can tell Murno is obviously looking a little bit quick, Walborn, and he wants to get past him, but he just needs to take a breath, calm it down, because it could end up going very wrong. And Feckler's been given a penalty by the game there, I think, by the looks of it. He's just been in the pits, so he might have been given a pit lane speeding penalty. Philip Feckler's afternoon looked seemingly going from bad to worse at the minute. But Aaron Curtis has also DNF now. I'm imagining from that damage, so very shame to see them. As we were saying, we all got kind of taken away from that incident as these guys were fighting. But the worst.
Look at the mirror. Belami was having a little look down the inside into turn 1.
We were slightly deprived of the three-way fights that often happen in the WMSC in Spa. We might be about to have one once again this afternoon, but Belami seems to just lose a lot of time through those corners. And as you say, he was right behind him looking into turn 1. And Polands is now on the attack. And it's a chance for Pascal Polands up the inside at the hairpin. Will Belami try the cutback? Oh, but Polands
blocks him off. Very well done there.
Just parks it on the apex and makes sure the move can't be done. And this is so far decent recovery from Holland Racing Team. After poor qualifying, they're working their way up calmly. So it's going very well indeed for them.
Yeah, indeed it is, but I'm a bit worried about the tyres of Yannis Walborn, who runs wide at the entry of the stadium.
Ooh.
Yeah, this is what I was talking about, because look how much faster Lucas Murno could go through that stadium section. And, well, the Infernal Void also is not the greatest car on technical tracks. Or bits of track, but the fact that Murno can go so much quicker through that technical bit makes me fear a bit for the tyre life of Yannis Walborn. Is he struggling on traction already?
Might be. But again, you see the speed that he pulls going away, but he's not going to have DRS. Lucas Murno is. They head down this straight. They have also got pushed to pass as well to try and defend, or likewise attack. Murno thinks about it, but look how quickly. Oh, and in the background,
three-way fight.
And it's both the better Julia cars. Belami, with a bit of a ball having trouble getting the power down on the exit of that hairpin. Walami does hold on, but Benton, Reader, and Vela need to communicate and go, right, one at a time, guys. We want to get back. In the meantime, back up here, we've got Murno trying to still get past Walborn, but Poland has caught up incredibly quickly. Literally breathless at the minute. So again, we'll see Murno close right up through this final sector. Just needs to pick the moment. Needs to get a good run out of one of these corners. And I agree with you. I think as soon as Murno gets the move done cleanly, he will get into some clear air. Turns 2, 3, and 4. Although, calling these two 3 and 4, I think is a bit light. But anyway, turns 3 and 4 are going to be vital for him. In the meantime, Dylan Fisher is right up with Reuven Meshida. They seem to be holding station, but routinely within a second. Running their own race quite comfortably at the front. In the meantime, Murno can't. When you've got a car that's got so much top speed, struggling. Gonna have to try and hopefully wait for another mistake. We've not seen that many. We've seen one today from Yannis Walborn. Surprising if we get another one.
I think that race kind of is a bit of a reminiscent to the one at Spain in Jerez, and Wilbon actually, Yanis did make a few mistakes there. He was at some points he was lucky enough that those around him were struggling as well.
Oh wow, and we've just had word of another 5-second time penalty, and unfortunately it's for Paolo Villami on his second race. That instant you saw with Denny Vella and the Better Julias.
Wilbon is very slow.
What? Oh, I wonder if that's a track limits issue. He's cut. This is exactly what we saw with Meshida in Monaco. He might have cut then through turn 1, and he's had to back off to avoid getting a penalty. And as a result, Murno's clear, and his teammate Poland's is clear as well. Wow, what a moment. This is a huge chance for Murno, though. He's got to try and get clear of Pascal Polands, because Polands will stick with him in DRS and Slipstream.
But I think Murno now just has to...
So into the final sector we go. This is the part where the Holland team cars have struggled. So we'll see how much time Murno can pull out, and he's looking very confident through here.
But he can't shake off Poland's. He will still be in his DRS window.
Indeed, this is going to be a big opportunity. As you said before, the Infernal Void car not exactly a slouch. This is an important moment. So now it's Murno, the sitting duck without DRS. But can Poland's have enough? He's still quite a way back.
Oh, he might try it.
Looks. So he tries to maybe make him just have a little dummy, just test the waters there. That's interesting. In the background, Villami hasn't been reeled back in by the Better Julias and is almost 3 seconds ahead of them. So he might continue on and see if he can still finish in the points with the time penalty. It's still a chance for him this afternoon. It's made it difficult, but it's not made it impossible.
Yeah, and we have seen it once again. Wilbon right at the limit there. He went over the sausage curb there. Off the track once again, and we probably know now he has of his free track limit shots now. And what's on there?
Oh my goodness, he's got caught on the curb.
And there goes Villami, and he will pass him into turn 1.
Oh, and he's done it. Yanis Wolborn is clearly struggling. He's pushing really hard and just cannot seem keep it on the track. Now, Villami will struggle to keep him behind, I think, on the straight. In fact, he might... Oh, Villami! He's managed to keep it out.
Oh, he has the DRS now.
I mean, was that a big brain strategy, or has that just worked out a little bit accidentally brilliantly? Will Villami look into the hairpin? He will.
And he does well to...
Oh.
There goes the Better Julia of, who's that? Benton Reader as well now.
On Villami having to defend quite aggressively. Oh no, he's just completely run wide there. Oh, I wonder if that might be another penalty for Villami. It's a shame. He's been quick this weekend, but it seems like when he's going wheel to wheel, he's just looking a little bit of its lack of car control, lack of composure, spinning up the reels. There's Wolborn there drifting it through Sachs curve. But Daniel Benton Reader, thank you very much, he says.
Once again on the sausage cup, running wide is Yanis Wolborn.
What is happening? This is the third time today.
It has to be the tires right now. He's not having grip at all. Contact once again with Danny Weller. And once again, he has to lift to avoid getting a penalty. Wolborn is struggling like he never has this season right now.
And we've seen it multiple times that Max Riedmuller, one of the main rivals, unfortunately not racing this afternoon, has had these moments where not gone his way and he's driven a little bit angry. And I wonder if Wolborn is getting a bit frustrated, as well as having to fight, obviously, the car not being best suited to the track and the tyres. Outside of the points, Yannis Volborn, it was going so well. Started 7th, was up as high as 4th, and now outside of the points, but he's going to look to try and get back past Denny Vella. He's only half a second away. In the meantime, Gonzalez Cativo fighting here with Machado. Machado here substituting his debut. So far, he's the highest running Costec after Fekler has had his issues, and in fact, Fekler has now retired. A DNF for Philip Fekler, so we are 3 cars down. Still plenty, and Gonzalez Cativo is in. And he's
first one to regularly stop.
And he's on the soft tyre as well, so he's going to have slightly more wear than the medium tyre guy. So 20 laps on the softs isn't bad at all. Be interesting to see how the mediums compare. In the meantime, Poland's is up the inside on once again. We see Murno go for the switchback, and Poland's just parking it on the apex, and he's got the job done. And Walborn wide. What is going on?
It has to be either the tire temperature that it can't control right now, that they are overheating, or well, they're just through the tire. I can't explain it in any different way. Look, he's gone sideways there as well.
He's hanging on to the car for dear life and, looking into mobile. What is not the place? And, yeah, I think he's definitely just getting frustrated now at this point.
Oh, but now the Julia Head also struggling, running right to the penultimate corner. That allows Wilborn through into 8th once again.
That's like Fragoto in for a scheduled pit stop. And he is on the medium tyre. So that's interesting. So the medium tyre, this might be a scheduled pit stop. And Fragoto has also had to go in. We've also got, is that that's the Maniti of Cativo. Oh, no, sorry, the Better Julia of Fournier, I should say. Not Better Julia. Another car entirely. It's Epizilia. Dear me. I'm a commentator. And both out without issue.
Now, interestingly, Gonzalez Cativo has gone back out on the softs once again.
And tell you what, why not? It doesn't seem like it's only a lap's difference between that soft tyre and the mediums coming in. So we'll see how the top 9, who are all on mediums and yet to stop, how much longer they go. And Dylan Fisher is now in the pits as we speak. Come to mention it as we have someone looking up into the hairpin, but Dylan Fisher is in. And before that, Meshida had quietly pulled out a 2-second gap over his teammate. So Meshida now very much in the driving seat. Track limits penalty there for Bartosz Karpeta. But straight back out again, it looks like another set of mediums for Dylan Fisher. And he will rejoin, just ahead of Benton Reader. That's a perfect place to slot in. But will Benton Reader have an attack down the parabolic? Benton Reader having to slam on there. Being so close to into entry of turn 2. There's Walborn in. Of one of the better Julies in. That's Vela in the background. I imagine he's going to be, mediums again. No surprise changes on compound at the minute. But everyone coming in around this lap. So it's basically going to be a 2-stop race by the looks of it. Obviously, everyone coming in bang on the third distance point in the race. So we will expect at least one more round of stops. Fortunately, for those who maybe aren't quite as quick today, it doesn't look like there's much of an alternative strategy for anyone to run. As Fragoto looking to fight his way back up after the early penalty, and a fine, clean move on Gonzalez Castillo. He's back in the top 10. Gonna look to see.
Meshida in the pit lane now. This is going to be interesting between him and Fischer.
And out comes Meshida. And he looks like he's comfortably through. Nicely done. I think he's held the 2-second gap perfectly. So, now Philip Pushka. Does he try and extend? Does he just go in? Because otherwise he's in the lead of the race, but very much temporarily. He's holding it for Ruben Meshida. Gap 12.6 seconds as it stands. Wow, Gustavo Fragoto with a new fastest lap. So it switched on his new mediums and seems to be doing quite well. Currently just trying to hunt down Denny Vella. Remember, Villami has a 5-second time penalty, and that will play into the hands at the minute of Volborn and Vella behind. You have to remember that come the end of the race. Minute he has Yanis Volborn trying to hunt him down. Dylan Fisher now, though, also turning on his new set of mediums. Get ready for a new little flurry of fastest laps. We have Daniel Benton Reader in the pits now. Here he feeds back in at the minute, though. Villami not being troubled by the Holland Racing Team car through that section. Oh, but he runs a little bit wide, and he's had to back off. And that is exactly the issue that Volborn had before. You cannot overcook it into the Nord curve, because you cannot, extend that bit of track, and you will be punished by the game. That's now brought Weller and Fragoto within the 5-second range of Villami. But Fragoto, not that far away from points. In fact, he's technically in the 1-point spot and could get himself past Vella. And we're showing, isn't it Benton Reader now showing his DNF?
He just went into the pit lane.
Oh wow!
He actually is out.
Wow, he was running quite well. I wonder what happened.
Yeah, and he was one of those that has not pitted yet. Now only Philip Pushka remains in the top 10. That has not pitted yet. And honestly, the longer Pushka stays out, the more likely it looks like he's going to try a one-stop strategy here.
Yeah, absolutely. I think, gap is coming down. It's not like he's going to try and do a couple of push laps and see if he can, try and shut the gap that way. It looks like he might be extending here. So that's interesting. Going to give an interesting extra dynamic for Pushka to try something this afternoon. But in the meantime, Denny Vella is having to defend from Fragoto. And just warding off the switchback, a couple of cars ahead. And Vella, a little indecision there of which side to go. I think Vella positioned his car quite well to make it difficult. Coming to the stadium section. Vella holding on again, but Fragoto all over the back of the Better Julia. Going on board through the penultimate corner, through the Sud curve. Lapped car just ahead by the looks of it. Blue light panels are flashing off around the track. Very nicely taken Nord curve there from Fragoto. Down towards turn 2, and the concertina right up, and I feel like Yasser Lahtinen, I think, has just been warned by race direction about blocking.
Yeah, that's a slam dunk penalty right now, I think. He's still not letting them by.
Oh, and what is Yasser Lahtinen doing? Well, to be fair, he has gone out of the way. I feel like, has he just not realised they're there and then tried to get out of the way, but actually then just made more problems of it? That almost very strange from Yasser Lahtinen.
Yeah, I mean, surely he must have seen all the blue light flashing everywhere, and well, there's no one else behind him. Kopeta, he's 3 laps down, so yeah, I don't know. It even looked like he was defending on the entry of the Parabolica.
Well, that's the strange thing. I thought he was for a moment as well, but then it looked like he got to the out of the way, so I was wondering, was he just trying to move and made an unfortunate wrong move? But yeah, not not textbook back marker behaviour there
Yeah,
from
once
Yasser
again
Lartin.
in the background, I think Kativo is now losing time behind him.
So through turn 1 we go. And at this point, you just assume he's going to get out of the way. Bartosz Karpeta there.
That's taking way too much time to get out of the way.
Going to move now. Like now, you just need to let off the throttle.
He does not.
No. This is... But then, obviously, he's clearly moved out of the way there. And I feel like you need to have more than one spot on the track where you allow cars to pass you.
Yeah, and to be honest, it's not very hard to do that in Hockenheim. I mean, you can even go off the track if that is entirely necessary and lift off there. But there is enough spots where you can do that in Hockenheim.
But this is a Daniel Benton reader. The car is smoking in the box. Is there just an issue? Did it overheat in the pits? Very strange. So we have lost Daniel Benton reader in slightly odd circumstances. I imagine engine issues. My best guess for that. Denny Vella has held on in the meantime from Frigoto.
So the gap at the top. Let's maybe first look at that battle here on track before talking about what might happen at the front in the future.
Yes, and Frigoto is, again, not sure what side of Vella to go. I don't think Vella's moving erratically at all. The move is done into the hairpin. Oh, but Vella. Oh, that's a silly move from Vella. Usually, the overtaking slid is very high, but there's been some very odd last-minute decisions.
Yeah, to be honest, I would love to see Vella's on board because Frigoto might have been moving on the braking to kind of force him to go down the inside.
A good point. Yeah, hopefully we will have a look at that, but couldn't keep it under control up to the inside, and Frigoto does get the move done, but like many moves this afternoon, it has not been completely clean. Here we go. So, Denny Vella goes defensive, looks to tuck back in. Oh, no, I feel Vella's moved towards Frigoto, almost expecting Frigoto to move to the left, and then he's had to take evasive action.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. I totally agree with you. From the onboard, it definitely looks like that.
Now he's under pressure from Gonzalez Cativo. Flying the flag for Maniti Racing this afternoon. DRS is open. Not... I don't think Cativo's going to close. He does close, but just a bit too far back. I'm sorry, I'm getting it the wrong way around. It's actually Cativo having to defend from Fournier. Vella is just ahead of them both. So it's Fournier on the move, and he's looking into the inside of Mercedes.
Oh, guys!
Oh, like that move is on, but I feel like there's... Are they trying it from too far back? Is it a lack of spatial awareness? I feel like, though, Cativo's moved out of the way there. Maybe he's kind of accepted, okay, yeah, I should have... Lack of awareness on my part, potentially.
Honestly, I felt like Fournier was a bit too far back to try that. I mean, you can make a move there, but you kind of have to be alongside more than just the front wheels at the rear. So I don't know.
I know, I agree with you, but for whatever reason, Cativo did seem to just jump out of the way there. But in the meantime, at the front, as you were alluding to, it seems like the Optimal cars are catching Pushka. Pushka definitely looking like he's going to run a one-stop race.
Surely he is by this point now. And this is going to be very interesting because that means, of course, now the Optimal guys are a lot quicker, but they have to gain another pit stop worth of time.
This is interesting because obviously now we're coming up to the halfway point of the race, which is where Pushka is going to want to run to. We'll see how much he's going to fight this. And then there's going to be a period of time after the pit stop where Pushka is going to be on much fresher tyres than Optimal, and he's got to try and hold the gap. But at the same time, he's got to make those tyres last to the end of the race. So there's lots of variables between the right amount of push, but also conserving for Pushka. Whereas, essentially for Optimal, they know what they've got to do. They've done one stint. They just need to do it 2 more times. So, very interesting now. But at the minute, Meshida and Fisher have very much held station all afternoon. They play it smart. Don't get too wrapped up in the battle here.
And if they want to win this race, I think they have to keep it playing smart because, there goes Pushkin now for his one and presumably only pit stop.
So yeah, I would say maybe it's 1 lap under the halfway point. So it's about the right point. Maybe he just thought, I'm not going to waste any time getting into a fight. He just now needs to get himself out into some clear air and go. Now, will he have clear air? Because Pascal Polens has just exited the final corner. Out of the pits to go, and Pascal Polens is through. So
that's bad news. He's going to be hard to pass.
He is indeed. Now, Polens should be pushing because he is going to be on a 2-stop. So it might not be too bad if he doesn't hold him up, but no, I don't think that's ideal. And we have just been given word that I don't know why Kativo felt the need to get out of the way of that move, but Jeffrey Fournier has been handed a 5-second time penalty for that half look up the inside at the Mercedes corner. And that kind of aligns with what your reading of that situation, Robin.
Yeah, to be fair, we both said that. I think maybe the explanation for why Kativo backed off there might be that he went off the track at some point there. I don't remember if he did that, and to avoid getting a penalty himself, he has lifted. So like a separate incident that we might have missed.
Yeah, you might be right, or in the fact that he was run off because of the incident and he ended up needing to back off potentially, but. Yes, so Jeffrey Fournier, also with the 5-second time penalty. That's him and Villami, both with 5-second time penalties. Gustavo Frigoto, at the minute, is benefiting from that because he's net 7th, running 8th on the road. Villami just ahead, but Frigoto will absolutely be looking to try and get ahead of him on the road. Frigoto trying to recover, and Villami must have just run wide on the exit of turn 1. Because that's now very easy. So Frigoto trying to begin his recovery charge after the early penalty. That drive through, he was running up in the top 5. But he's back in the points at least. Let's see how far he can get. Will he be able to catch Yanis Volborn ahead of him? While Fournier, in the meantime, he's under pressure once again. Now it's reverse, I should say. Gonzalez Kativo. Oh no, sorry. Tell you what, there's too many green cars on this grid. It is
indeed.
It is Fournier attacking Vela. You know what? We've only had one orange car and they've changed their livery to white. Could one of the green cars do a special livery for me, please? I'd really appreciate it. Jeffrey Fournier is on attacking Denny Vela now.
Information in the chat sorry, at a loss of words right now. too confusing, this race. But information from the chat is that Gonzalez Kativo has taken some damage from that incident with Jeffrey Fournier, as Philipp Puschke is now trying to make a move on Pascal Polens, and he will try it here into the Mercedes curve, and Polens does very well, but that is a very good move indeed by Philipp Puschke. Very well done, and back into 3rd, and that releases him without having lost too much time. I think it was maybe 1 second he lost there behind Pascal Polens.
That was an excellent move. We've seen lots of half-hearted moves into the Mercedes turn, but he waited there and got a brilliant drive out on the exit. That's a superb move from Philipp Puschke. Probably one of the passes of the day. In the meantime, Jeffrey Fournier has made it past Denny Vela. And I imagine that would be on the Parabolica, looking at where they are on track. I think he might have done him in the DRS zone. But yeah, as you were saying before, that kind of a burst of action, real shame for Gonzalez Kativo. He's suffering damage from that. He's just having to now run about in 11th and dropping back from these guys now.
Yeah, indeed, points might have been on the cards for him, but now it looks very hard. Then, of course, well, we're only just past the halfway point of this race, and we've been praising the drivers of the WMSC, but most of the races have been very, very clean. That can't be sad for today's race. Lots of stuff to do for race direction. So yeah, we might see some more controversial moves, race-ending moves, maybe even. So yeah, this is not over yet for Gonzalez Cativo.
It's been interesting. I think we've heard more from race direction having to caution or give penalties to drivers this afternoon, more so than any other race, I think. So yeah, it's been an interesting one this afternoon. Is it the fact that hot temperatures are causing issues with the tires overheating, loss of grip, or is it just everyone's just that giddy that it's the last race before the summer break? Everyone's on their summer holidays already. But these two certainly are. They're having a very consummate professional afternoon. Meshida is leading from Fisher. Fisher has not really made too many challenging moves. I think they've run as a team very consistently. At the minute, Fisher is holding the fastest lap by about 200ths of a second from his teammate, but they are the fastest guys out on track. And Reuven Meshida might finally, after what looked like Monaco was going to be a nailed-on victory at Monaco, he might finally have a chance this afternoon. It does look like the only people that could stop him are his teammate, or if Filip Puška can make his one-stop strategy work. At the minute, his gap is holding at about 21 seconds. So it's going to be tight on the entry. I think Puška needs to make a little bit more inroads than that to really put the pressure on. And obviously you remember that, these guys will come out of that second pit stop and be on fresher tyres.
Yeah, indeed. He needs to cut that gap down to like about 5 seconds, maybe, by the point that Meshida and Fisher stop. And I don't see that happening right now. I think Optimal are on a very good way to score a 1-2 here.
Oh, absolutely. It's been an incredible afternoon for them.
Then I will be very interested if they know that Puška won't be an issue when they both made it past him after their second pit stop, which I presume is what will be happening. If Fisher is allowed to attack, because he can't keep with him. So
this is true, and also, Meshid is not exactly in the title fight. He is, I believe, 5th in the standings at the minute. So sure, he can maybe look to try and close that gap, but yeah, it's hard to say if you want to call team orders at this point. But then again, from a team perspective, you think, well, your cars are running 1-2. It's the first time they've run it 1-2. Let's not risk losing it. Much like Jordan 1998 Spa, they decided, no, we're going to hold station. Please don't fight each other, guys. Come home in the order you are. But we will see. They might be let off the leash after the final round of pit stops, and once they know they've got this sort of clear air, they might have the opportunity. But so far, they've played the team game perfectly.
Yeah. You know what, Belgium 1998 was immediately the one race that came to my mind as well when you were talking about it. But yeah, I think this is the sensible decision to take if you're Optimal Esport, to say like, yeah, we are running a 1-2. We have lost our first race win already in Monaco, very unfortunately. So yeah, let's not take any risks here and just bring it home.
Absolutely, and Super Parker makes a good point in the chat. At the minute, as a team, they're 5th in the championship, but a 1-2 would absolutely catapult them into 4th and put a little bit of clean air between them and SCMM, Infernal Void, Better Julia. Cars who are in the points this afternoon. Better Julia aren't at the minute either. So yeah, a big opportunity for them to to take fourth and put some air in them, and maybe that, with the amount of time there is left, there's still a chance for them to try and reel in Maniti and Basilia, or even be in the fight for second. There's still enough time for that.
Yeah, that is a very good point indeed.
Oh, and Gustavo Frigoto has been given another penalty. Oh, his afternoon goes from bad to worse. He's going to have to go for another drive-through, which means he's going to end up outside of the points. So that is going to allow Fournier, Villami at least ahead of him, potentially even Vela. In the meantime, though, Vela is looking for a move on Villami into the hairpin, goes side by side through the apex. And nicely done, Villami again. Very skittish when putting the power down. Doesn't look for a move in Mercedes corner. We have another DNF further down the order as well. Yasser Lahtinen also DNFing for Potenza Esports. That's both Potenza Esports retiring this afternoon. Real shame, and Walami just overcooking it into Mobile 1. Such a shame for Paolo Walami, running in the points for large parts since the penalty just seems to be fading away. It's a real shame because there was a real chance for points for him, and Scuderia Cesario looked decent this afternoon.
Yeah, indeed they do, but for me it also looks a bit like he's struggling a bit in the race. He's been off the road many times, so yeah, the car probably went very well in qualifying for him, but the race is of course an entirely different thing, and yeah, especially in these hot conditions, keeping the tires in the temperature window, and yeah, that might be the issue for him as well, as it is for so many others. We've seen it happen to Yannis Wilborn even at the end of his first stint.
Absolutely. And Walborn is running in a little bit of a no man's land, just behind the man we are riding on board with, Lucas Murno, within a second of Pascal Polens. He's been having a lot of fights with the Holland Racing Team cars this afternoon, Lucas Murno, but still a chance at fourth. Needs to stay with Pascal Polens. Still a round of pit stops to go. I think in the background, Gonzalez Cativo was just stopped, and he's on soft tires. I think he might have just taken his second stop within the last few laps. So we might start to see it, and Walami is in now. We are reaching the 2/3 race distance, and Fish is in the lead. Oh no! Ha ha ha! You are very cheeky, Reuven. Very well done. Well done to you. Fooled me once. Shame on me. In the pits, Reuven Meshda. So yes, we are about to see the second round of pit stops for the two stoppers. So where is Philip Pushka going to come out? Is that Pushka in the background? If so, I don't think it's going to be enough to get round. Or is it? Oh yes, he is through. Okay. So the question is, how quickly can Reuven Meshda reel in Pushka on these fresh mediums? And the thing is, if there's going to be a fight now between these two, this actually might give Dylan Fisher a chance to undercut.
Yeah, very good catch there, Ash. I think this is a very interesting situation we have here right now. But I think, well, Pushka will have an incredibly hard job to defend from Meshida now. He's on 10 laps, older tires. The gap is just 1.5 seconds, and Optiminal has been quicker than Pushka the entire day, so I don't see him holding that.
Absolutely, unless Pushka has been playing the incredibly long game and trying to hold something back to this moment, which I don't think is unlikely. As Dylan Fisher is in the pits as well, so they've literally got him one after the other. So it's not going to give much of a chance for Meshda to be held up. So let's see how this goes. Meshda is still about 1.3 behind. Are they both going to sweep through? They are just, and Fisher rejoins. So now the top three have all completed their scheduled stops, assuming that Pushka is staying on the one stop, which you imagine he is. So now, this is the fight for the lead and potentially the win of the race. Lucas Murno in the pits in the background, as well as the other two stoppers start to make their moves.
Oh, Murno is trying the undercut on Pascal Polens. He just went into the pits.
This could be very interesting for Murno as well, if he can get a good solid outlap. Right on board with Philip Pushka though. The gap is down to under a second. Meshida is in DRS range for the next time. Question is, Pushka maybe do something through this twisty final section just to take off his pursuers. Here we go. Back marker there out of the way. I imagine that was Bartosz. Turn one, very tidy from Philippe Pushka. And a note that Paolo Wallami is having a bit of trouble at turn one. He's cutting quite a lot, which means he's having to back off, which is costing him a lot of time as well. One of the reasons he's losing time. But here we go. Down the Parabolica, half a second between them. DRS will be open on the Optimal car. And not close enough this time around, but doesn't need to risk it. He can be very patient. There are still 22 laps to go.
Oh, the undercut has worked for Murno.
Fantastic from Lucas Murno. And in the meantime, Pushka is just trying to keep Meshida behind as best he can. Does make you think though, if Pushka does end up losing out, and Poland is trying to fight back. Murno just spinning up the wheels.
Poland's now in a better
sweeps
position.
Through. Oh, and Murno just trying to make something happen. Both of their tyres now will be very gripped. Dylan Fisher now with the fastest lap though, getting closer and closer through the final sector. Gap is about 3/10 between the leaders. We've got two big battles going on at the same time. Walborn is in the pits though, and now we're onto the Parabolica. Meshida is so close this time. Oh, little banging of wheels there. Can Poland's hold the inside? That's very well defended, but he's going to be in the less optimal position for the Mercedes corner. Holds him out though through turn 7, and he's managed to defend it. Brilliant work, and Fisher's now joined the party. And this is the question now: is Fisher just going to wait patiently? They're holding through into Mobile 1, and another lap survived.
If we're gonna see that for 20 more laps, we're in for a hell of a race.
Meantime, Gustavo Frigoto flying in a fastest lap out of nowhere. Obviously in some clear air. Everyone has now stopped and done what we assume to be their scheduled stops. The two stoppers, the one stoppers, I think the only person actually who hasn't done a two-stop who was on schedule to do so was Mateus Machado in 12th. So, it's about what people do on track. And we come to the Parabolica again, and Meshida is 2/10 away. He's so close before the DRS is even open. But once again, Pushka to the inside. He's having to tuck back in. He's already made the move. And now he looks to get the best line he can through the hairpin to attack back through turns 7 and 8.
Yeah, it's not going to work. He's too far off.
Done enough. Nice work from Ruben Meshida. And now going to be Dylan Fisher trying to eye up the move as well. And what I was going to suggest before all the action kicked off is, you know, if Optimal do clear Philip Pushka quite efficiently, there's going to be a pit stops gap between him to Poland. So you think, well, you know, rather than fight the tyres, I wonder if we'll see Pushka end up just stopping again so he can run on faster. Wow. Actually, not a commentator's curse for once, but actually a correct prediction. Someone write it down, please. Here comes Philip Pushka. So he will rejoin you'd imagine, comfortably in third.
Now I'd be interested in his choice of tires. Does he go for the mediums once again, or does he try it on... No, surely he's not going to try it on super softs. That was, yeah. It's the mediums.
And they definitely, the super softs, I think, would definitely struggle to last the remaining distance. 20 to go. So he's now got the fresher tyres, only by a few laps though, about 5 or 6 laps, or even less than that in fact, about 5 laps on the optimal cars. So he's going to try what he can, but I think he might have just decided for an easier afternoon in terms of holding for third. In the meantime, the big battle on track, Poland's versus Murno for 4th place. Head in through to the end of sector 2, and Fischer now with the fastest lap. Apologies, we were having a couple of audio issues again. Please do bear with us. Follow Lucas Murno into the final sector. It's, you know, both got very quick cars in a straight line, but that Holland Racing Team car is so difficult to get past on the straights. And unfortunately, the best overtaking place is lining up down through Parabolica.
Yeah, indeed. I think Lucas needs to hope for a mistake that Pascal does, because yeah, look at that. He has the rear wing open and he's barely gaining any time on the Parabolica. So that focus on straight line really works well for Holland in terms of defending and attacking, of course. So definitely a viable strategy or philosophy somewhat, but in races like these today, or especially Jerez, it comes back to bite them to some extent.
I think they'll be definitely happy with where they've ended up, though. Obviously, Poland starting the day 9th, running 4th, Volborn 7th and running 6th, although it probably could have been better for Volborn. Oh, wow. Hell of a broad slide going into the corner there from Murno, but holds it. But yeah, I think they'd both be very happy with if they ended up where they are now, for sure.
Yeah, and Pascal Poland's turning out to be a bit of a damage limitation expert in Jerez, where Wilborn was struggling so much as well. He finished 2nd, and now he once again finishes ahead of his teammate.
I believe this would just be the 2nd time this season he's finished ahead. Actually, it'd be the 3rd. Yes, you're right. So yeah, the 3rd time he's finished ahead of his teammate this season. Obviously, he missed Monaco, where Owen McGorgy subbed in, but Poland's having a fine season and not out of the championship picture just yet. It has to be said, especially when there's days like these, still a potential. Meantime, Poland is holding Murno at arm's length, and Meshida is holding Fischer at arm's length. You know, this is the moment where you think, okay, if they're going to be allowed to fight, now is the moment. The question is it because Meshida is able to hold off, or is Fischer just in the game? The gap is about 3/10 between them as we speak.
I mean, if it was down to me and I would decide to let them fight, I would only let them fight the final couple of laps, because a safety car can always happen, and yeah, I wouldn't risk it just yet, because something might happen that might throw a spanner in the works still.
Oh, very true. Oh, we're going to have a back marker cut between
Murno! My goodness!
Oh my lord! Oh no!
I think it's Kativo. Yeah, Kativo, he's damaged to his car, so that might be a bit of an issue here.
Yeah, I think that hampered him in his efficiency of getting out of the way there. But fortunately, it's not damaged Murno too much. He's still within a second. If anything, he looks slightly closer than he did this time 1 lap ago. As it stands, though, the quickest out on track at the minute is Philip Pushka. He's running about 1/10 of a second faster than Dylan Fisher and 2/10 of a second faster than Ruben Meshida. And as I say that, Philip Pushka then goes and blows all that out the water. 1 minute 13.2, the fastest lap of the race of anyone by 2/10 of a second. So Pushka just firing a shot across the bow, maybe just trying to remind the Optiminals, I'm still here just in case. Don't get too comfortable. But at the minute, he's not gonna challenge too much at the minute. Gap 21 seconds.
Yeah, I think this would be need to be a 24-hour race for him to catch up to the two Optiminals.
Meantime, Murno has done a solid job of reeling in Poland's, and might we see a similar issue towards the end of this stint, and indeed the end of the races we saw with Volbon, where the tyres are more of an issue for Poland's than they are for Murno, and actually that's when Murno has the chance to strike.
Yeah, I think so. This is the absolutely right thing to do for Lucas Murno. Just keep up the pressure, maybe force him into a mistake, or of course to use up his tyres, and then bounce back in the late stages of this race.
Slightly messy final sector there for Murno. Very hard on the curb into the Nord curve. But
yeah, the same, of course, goes for Lucas Murno. He needs to be wary of mistakes as well. Sorry to interrupt you there.
Oh, no, absolutely. And yeah, he's still with him, though. He's still got a chance. Oh, wing is open. You look back from Pascal Poland's car. As he spotted, the last time we were on board. The gap only really started to Constantina under braking, and Murno having to catch a little bit of a twitch there. But forward we go towards Mercedes. And the gap just shutting down. It seems to be at its closest through the middle of Sector 2 and Sector 3. And Poland's is just able to have enough on Murno in Sector 1. But he's driving quite sensibly this time, Murno. He didn't overcook it into Mobile 1. He's just having a little less speed into the entry of the corners. He's just kind of held quite nicely. But look at the power and the acceleration off the final corner from Poland's. 2/10 becomes 6. And this is the key part of Poland's defence now. It's making sure the gap is big enough here. So, Constantina up through turns 2, 3 and 4. Murno getting a little bit slidey on it. The gap was 6/10 as they cross the DRS line. And now we watch the gap in the corner, and again it's a 10th and a half, and then braking. So he's able to gain a 10th and a half under the DRS zone, but not quite enough. He needs to be closer. It's Sector 1 that Murno needs to work on if he's going to get past Pascal Poland's. Or like you say, it's about the tyres going off to give him that opportunity, maybe.
I was wondering if Pascal Poland's does something different in that final corner, because that can't just be down to traction, better traction, more horsepower, whatever.
Yeah.
That has to be some sort of different line that Poland's is taking. Oh yeah, this time, well, Murno clearly struggling with the final 2 corners. Oh, he's out of DRS now even.
Oh, that mistake, and it was a mistake that benefited him in the form of battling Walburn earlier, getting caught on that curb, but now, unfortunately, he's out of DRS, and is he able to get back in is the big question. Time running out for Lucas Murno. Meantime, up the front, Ruben Meshida has opened up the gap to 2 seconds on the road, casually going about his business, and so far he has done absolutely everything right this afternoon and is managing the race beautifully. Dylan Fisher as well. I said this once earlier in the stream, but just want to hats off to his performance, because previous best results, this is only his, I think, 3rd race of the season. And his previous 2 races, qualified 12th, finished 7th, then qualified 8th, and then a DNF, classified 19th last time out. For race number 3, this has been a hell of a recovery to qualify second and potentially finish second if you get the job done. Great drive from him so far.
Now we're watching the battle for P9 between Willamy and Danny Weller. Oh, and sneaky and silently, Frigoto back into the points despite his second drive-through penalty.
Fine job despite the penalties and the issues. Interesting to see what his afternoon would have been like if he'd not had so many track limits issues. It's a real shame for him. He could have had an incredible afternoon, but if he can walk away with points, I imagine he'll be very happy about it. I do remember that Jeffrey Fournier as well also has the 5-second time penalty, as does Paolo Willamy. So at the minute, Frigoto is running net 7th. And Danny Vella is running net 9th, but would like to ideally get past. Maybe he could look, it would be an outside shot, but he would look to maybe try and catch Fournier, but I don't know if there's quite enough time for that. And here's a chance for Denny Vella. And managed to hold it on. They both... Oh, and Willamy again. We've seen it all afternoon. Just twitching on the accelerator. Just struggling to get the power down, especially when he's battling someone. And Denny Vella is through. So, there is a gap of about 23 seconds between him and Fournier. See what he can do. In the meantime, Murnau is incredibly close. But he has to bail out, but he's up the inside. He's going to try and see if he can get in the slipstream and just do something towards Mercedes, but I don't think he's going to be able to. 10 laps to go for Lucas Murnau. Just got to be patient.
Yeah, but I don't think he can... I totally agree with you, but he can't be too patient either, because look at the background.
Oh my goodness, you're right. Yannis Volborn is coming. And this could be a very interesting final few laps in the fight for 4th, and an important chance for Volborn for damage limitation this afternoon.
Yeah, indeed. I've been watching the gap while we were watching the Weller-Willamy battle, and Wilborn has gained a second on that last lap only, so he will be there by the end of this race.
Okay, so this could be very interesting indeed. In the meantime, Pascal Poland's again in DRS range. The gap 4/10 this time around. In 3, within 2. Again, he looks out just to maybe keep Poland's looking behind him in his mirrors, but that's not going to help Lucas. Again, bit of a slide, putting the power down on exit. So, gap now just over 2.5 seconds back to Volborn. Wonder if Murnau knows the championship leader is incoming.
Yeah, he surely has realized by now. And 6-7 tenths once again gained by Wilborn on this lap.
In the meantime, back at the front, the gap is back down to 0.6 of a second between Mesheder and Fischer. Very interesting fluctuations of the gap between them, but they're both lapping about the same. Now, Murnau, 0.5 second as we cross the DRS line. And that's, as previous laps have shown, that's not going to be close enough. Whereas Volborn is just slowly but surely getting closer and closer. I don't even think this is a case of Poland's even backing up, because it's, Murnau is struggling to catch Poland. It's the fact that Volborn seems to have very solid pace in this last run. The chance could arise. Erno getting quite close through Sachs curve. Final two corners. An important corner for Murno. Try and get as good entry as he can. Again, time the gap just goes up on the exit of Sud curve.
Indeed, it does. As I did get some very interesting information from the front of the grid. So apparently, it looks like Mashada is just pulling Dylan Fisher, and Dylan won't attack. There was an opportunity when Kopata held up Mashada, and there would have been an opportunity for Dylan, but he stayed behind his teammate nevertheless, though he could have easily overtaken him there. So, yeah, this is probably what's been going on. So unfortunately, we won't see a battle for the lead of this race, but we will definitely see a 3-car battle in the last 5-6 laps, as Wilborn is just outside the DRS now of Lucas Murno, and then it's going to be very interesting between these three. Now, interestingly, these are the only 3 drivers that have finished every race inside the points since Bahrain. Well, in the case of Pascal Poland's every race they competed in. He couldn't score points in Monaco, but that is just shows how consistent and good Lucas Murno has been this season.
Yeah, he's just gotten stronger and stronger every round. Saw his first podium last time out in Spa, and he's again putting a very good performance. Just some close moments, but managed to hold on, and he's still got a chance at 4th today. But he might have to do some defending as well as attacking to make it happen. Walborn the gap down to 1.3. Also, Fragoto is within half a second of Fournier in the battle just behind them. Fournier obviously nursing a 5-second time penalty, so Fragoto doesn't have to do anything silly there. Bella is unfortunately not making anywhere near enough inroads to be able to benefit from that 5-second time penalty either, so it does seem like Fournier was still gonna... Oh no, Lucas Murno on the exit of Mobile 1 just catches the grass. He's done a very good job to keep it going. Incredibly, they've not lost any time either. Whoa, that was a heart-in-mouth moment from Lucas Murno. But he's still going. And Yannis Volborn is now just over a second away. He might be on the attack this time around in Parabolica. No, just getting a little bit slidey on the exit. He was half a second, but it was a poor exit of turn 2. And now we look at Walborn behind as well. Can he... Not going to be close enough this time. And now we have the cars running one after the other. 5 laps to go. The fight's on. The final sector. Be very careful through Mobile 1. Takes a much more conservative line to the inside. And he's right up the Poland's through this section, as he has been all afternoon against these Holland cars. But it's just the exit. Can't seem to stick with them. And Volborn is now even closer. Through turn 1. Oh, but surely... the most opportune moment. Yannis Volborn has just overcooked it into 1. And he's out of DRS range. Wow, what a let-off that might be for Lucas Murno, as Murno trying to shut the gap. He's not going to be close enough again. But Volborn might be kicking himself for that.
It'll also be interesting to see how much Wilborn is prepared to risk in that battle. He's losing 3 points to Pushka, if my math is all right, and 2 to his teammate. which is not exactly a big amount of points. And if he crashes, of course, the Lucas Murno, who has not too much to lose here, of course, he's driving all for himself. It might be worth a shot to wait if there is an opportunity to make an easy pass.
Yeah, I think you're right there. I don't feel like in terms of damage limitation, 6th would be the end of the world for Yannis Walborn. Max Riedmuller isn't here. Pushka can only manage 3rd. And, Meshida has been superb in all the races he's been in, but he's not been in all the races. That's the big issue. So I agree with you, but Walborn is a very, very determined racer, and he's already back within DRS range. I think we just caught a glimpse of the special liveried white Holland Racing Team car as we went through the hairpin. There he is. And now Murno is outside of a second of Poland's, and I wonder if Murno is now probably thinking more defensively than offensively. Got to have a tidy final sector, because this is where the car is slightly better. Is Devo just in the pits? Like he's going to strap on another pair of softs. Just for the final couple of laps. Oh, and Kativo's a penalty as well. Imagine that might be pit lane speeding. There he is. Everyone's through without issues.
Oh, this is a critical lap now for Lucas Murno. He seems to be out of the DRS. Yeah, the rear wing remains closed. And Wilborn is gaining a lot.
Walborn too far back, doesn't think about it this time around. Oh, look at the drive out of the hairpin that Walborn has. Will he look? Murno having to go defensive into Mercedes. Oh, and clatter. That's a bit unnecessary there. I think Walborn just a little bit tight on the entry. But Walborn looking racy. All he has to do is remain a little bit closer. He might get it done up to the hairpin. Seems like Pascal Polans now is just able to get away. In fact, we've talked a lot about the tyre wear issues of the team. They seem to have not really had too many of them. In fact, I think the main issue has just been they've not had the pace, and maybe they've overdriven just to try and compensate, and it's led to a few mistakes. But it seems like they've got the rubber to race Lucas Murno to defend and attack respectively. Question is, will they change position before the end of this race?
Seeing as Murno is back in the DRS window of Pascal Polans, he seems to be safe. Polans running wide through the hairpin.
Oh, that was a bit of an unforced error. Half a chance, but I feel like he's going to have enough speed on the exit. In the meantime, Meshida and Fischer have started the final lap. It's going to be the big fight on track. Do our best to cover the optimal cars across the line, and all the action from here is Murno. Again, he's now starting to look a little bit desperate. He's tried to stick his nose at the inside of Sachs curve. Determined to try and make something happen. This is almost reminiscent of Mansell climbing over Senna at Monaco, but there's a lot more space. Can Lucas Murno make something happen, or is he going to fall into the jaws of Yannis Walborn? As Walborn wide again.
Down, surely.
Oh, and that's a huge moment once again. Walborn has just taken himself out of a chance of 5th place. So it is now Murno versus Polans. Towards the hairpin we go. They're not going to be close enough to make a move here. Lucas Murno going to have to try and make something happen when the gap shuts up in the final sector. Speaking of the final sector, it's an incredible win and a long overdue one for Ruben Meshida, and an incredible one too for Optimal Esports. That is an incredible performance, both individually and as a team. Holland are the only team that have looked anywhere as organised as that, but they have managed it superbly. Philip Pushka ends 13 seconds down the road. A fine drive for him. The big question is now who's going to come home 4th.
Yeah, Murner has given up as it seems. 1.3 seconds the gap now.
The gap has just come down. So it is going to be Pascal Polens to hang on for fourth. A fine drive from ninth. What a recovery that is for him. Murno can still be very happy with fifth place. Yannis Volborn sixth. Jeffrey Fournier is going to cross the line in seventh. But Gustavo Frigoto at the minute is within the 5-second window. The gap has opened up a little bit. I believe it's going to be Fournier in eighth and Frigoto in seventh, which is an incredible bit of work from Frigoto considering the penalties he's dealt with this afternoon. Only managed to stay within track limits, but that confirms the points positions. Reuven Mesheder, though, take a bow. After the disappointment of Monaco, that is a comprehensive and fine drive indeed. Dylan Fisher, what a performance from him. Excellent work.
Yeah, this has a congratulations to Reuven. This has been a similarly commanding victory as the one from Max Riedmüller and Jerez. As we just got a shot off the ground.
Going somewhat mild there.
Yeah.
Oh, look at them.
Oh, there's one guy not even looking at the action.
Must be a Potenza esports fan. He's had quite enough.
Indeed, he did. Yeah, but once again, congratulations to Reuven Mesheder, as I was about to say. And yeah, absolutely fantastic performance, as commanding as Riedmüller and Jerez and Volborn in both Bahrain and Spa. Absolutely fantastic performance. What a shame he missed the first three races, because he could be right up there in the championship fight as well. But we have to see what happens for the rest of the season as we wait. So is Jeffrey going to do some donuts here on the drag strip for the spectators?
Oh, she's going to beat you.
Playing in the sand, yeah.
Oh, amazing. And we've had a message from the chat. Proud of my Optimal boys from Maxime, and we are now joined by both of the Optimal esports guys, Dylan Fisher and Reuven Mesheder. Congratulations both. What a performance. Reuven, I'm going to start with you. After Monaco, where you seemed completely in control and then had a bit of an unfortunate ending to the race, today you've controlled it from start to finish. That looked pretty easy. Was it?
Well, firstly, it's great to win this. It was really hard for me. I think me and Dylan played it really well together. I think he could have overtaken me more than once, so we played the team play as the team part really well. Thank you, Dylan. And yeah, from our pace was phenomenal again. So I hope to continue this from in the next races. So we maybe can even fight for top 3 in this championship. So I'm very much looking forward.
Oh, fantastic. And it was a fine performance. Dylan, from you as well. Obviously, this is only your third appearance of the season, and it's all come together beautifully. What was it about the car today? Something just seemed to really click with you and you were really on the pace. What was it today that really worked for you?
Honestly, I wish I knew whatever Reuven did to the setup, it worked, compared to Spa. For whatever reason, it just clicked. And as Reuven said, the main thing today was just working as a team. We've had an agreement going into it. Whoever led by the hairpin would probably stay ahead until the last stint. So, just overall, I wish I knew what clicked. It just did.
Oh, that's excellent. And we did wonder if that was the case, and it's icy, so it's almost like a Mika Hakkinen and David Coulthard style deal of whoever's first to this point on track gets to stay ahead, and that served you well, because you did have potentially some fight in the form of Philip Pushka trying to do the one stop to get around you. How much that was a concern? Were you having to manage tyres, or were you just able to kind of push throughout?
I think we knew right from the get-go when Philip would have been one stopping, we would have been getting him easily, because already after the first pit stop, we were already on his back, and already on for the second stint already. We would have won the race by far more than that if Philip wouldn't have been pitting for the second stop. So it doesn't was so I could I can't speak really. Just-
No, and so as mentioned, you've still got a chance at trying to bridge the gap to the guys ahead in both the constructors and the drivers' championship. Still a lot of work to go on that. But how are you feeling looking towards the next round at Estoril? Do you feel like that's a track where similarly you can have a strong performance?
I think yes. The track Estoril should suit us more than Hockenheim even. So I'm really looking forward to it. Maybe putting more effort to the setup even. And then, yeah, maybe again getting another one too would be nice. But also we should underestimate the other guys like Janis and Pascal or Philip or Max Riedmüller. They are very fast guys. So
No, absolutely, and it's been an absolute pleasure to watch all of you race so well at the top this season. It's been really intriguing. Honestly, we were just saying before you arrived, it's a shame you both weren't able to attend for all the races, because you could be right up there in the constructors as well. Are you both confirmed, both racing in Estoril?
yeah.
Yeah, I think so. Oh, assuming everything goes well
No.
with
No.
the PCs and stuff.
Of course, no, absolutely. Well, gentlemen, thank you very much. Congratulations to you both. It was a very professional and well-handled performance from both of you. And yeah, congratulations once again.
Thank you.
Yeah. Congratulations
Cheers.
from my side as well. Enjoy the rest of your day, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You too.
Well, we were not disappointed this afternoon, Robin. It was a very interesting race and a fine performance from both the Optimal Esports cars. Do we think that then there's an opportunity for them to get back and maybe challenge for at least second in the constructors with that sort of form?
Yeah, I think there definitely is a chance if they continue to drive like that, especially seeing that since Ruven is there, there wasn't really that much races where they had no chance at all. Like they were quick or Ruven especially was quick in Canada as well, for example. He just had a bit of issues with strategy and tire wear, presumably, which meant he dropped out of the podium positions after the first stint. But yeah, I think they might still be able to challenge for second if everything goes right for them. And yeah, as they said already, I think Estoril might suit them very well as well. Like seeing how good Ruven was at Monaco, I think Estoril might play into their hands as well.
Absolutely, lots of fast sweeping corners and more technical sections that will lean towards a more balanced, more heavier downforce car. So very interesting indeed to see how it all goes. That is on the 20th of August. We are now upon the WMSC summer break. So thank you so much for everyone who supported the season so far and is still with us for the streams. We really do appreciate it. And the title fight is still very much alive. Janis Wallborn managing to keep it together with a bit of damage limitation, but Max Riedmüller should be back next time out. Meshida and the Optimal Esports team have joined the party, and Pushka is still pushing. Thank you very much for watching. See you in Portugal.